Hello, welcome to the Writing Engineer. In a previous video, I did a reason video why you need to do proof copies of your book. So this is the original. You can see it's still, it's very shiny. The words are a little small. There's a couple of problems that we needed to get fixed here. And so I did a whole bunch of that. I actually fixed the font size and changed. You can see here that the chapters didn't end properly. And I changed a few things on this so that the new version would be a bit better than this one. So without further ado, here is the new version. You can see I've already opened it up because I wanted to make sure it was okay before I dumped it out on camera. But here we go. First, comparison of the back. All right, you can see that the words are a little bigger on this one than on this one, but the spacing of these words goes right out to either side, so that doesn't really look quite right. You can also see that this one looks a little grayer than this one, but that is because this one is a high gloss. You can see that the color is a little darker, and this one is a matte gloss. You can't see any really shining from my lights overhead. Right? So this is not going to get in the way of having a video taken of it or anything like that. It does look a little duller, but the actual feel of the book, I think I like a little bit better. It feels less slippery to the touch and more tactile. So anyone who likes a more tactile version of the book is definitely going to like the matte finish over the gloss finish. So here's a side-by-side comparison. If you want to see them side by side, you can see I fixed the title here so that it actually comes away from the edge. You can see that my name does not run off the edge now, and it's a little smaller and more spaced into the hand. You can see the hand image got cut off a little bit in the previous version versus this version. And basically, I shrunk everything so that it would fit more nicely on this side. We'll go to the back cover again. I completely redid the text for the back cover. I don't know if you can see here, but those words are actually a little fuzzy. That's not a camera defect. You can see the barcode is very clear, but the words are just a little bit fuzzy. So I changed the font for this just a little bit, and I like the way that this came out a little bit better. The spacing is nicer. And that type of thing. So we'll go to the inside. Now I fixed, I don't know if you'll be able to tell, but the text in this is a little bit bigger, right, than the text in this. Also, I noticed the first time through that these headers up here were larger than the actual text in the book, so I changed that as well. And there were a couple of places in this book, specifically a lot of the chapters, where they didn't start at least a third of the way down the page. So that I fixed as well. I also went through and fixed a couple of things that had been missing from the back matter. And, so it also, if you do back matter for your book, just be aware that, I took this out for the final cover. This is a second proof. This is not the final version. I took a couple of those out. Amazon does not like you to restart your page numbering. It wants you to keep that continuous throughout, so that for the actual final version, these page numbers continue throughout. Now, by changing the font size and making sure that all my chapters did start down the page as I wanted them to, as looks aesthetically pleasing. I did also try, and you can see here one of these pages only has a word on it. I tried to fix a little bit of that, but there's only so much that you can do when you're laying this out by hand. I wasn't going to adjust any of the kerning of this or do anything like that. So what I've got here is a book that we're going to hold these side by side. You can see the new version is actually thicker than the old version. Right, we'll put these so that the words are facing right side up. But you can see that this one is significantly thicker than this one. And that was just by changing the font and changing the beginning chapter titles. Overall, I think that this second version is much better and only had a few things that I needed to change in order to make it worthy of for resale. I'm actually going to purchase a couple of the author copies for this so that I have some. I would recommend that you do the same if you're going to be making physical copies of your book and not just electronic copies of your book. That way you can either give them out or you can sell them by hand. And the nice thing is that there's special author pricing, so you don't have to pay. If you listed your book for, let's call it $15, the author pricing is really only going to be the print cost plus, I believe, the cut that Amazon takes of the book profit when you sell the book. So that you only have to pay for printing and for Amazon's cut of your cover here, which in my case turns out to be something like I get, of the total book cost, I actually get somewhere close to 30% when I sell a physical copy as opposed to an electronic copy. Electronic copies, I still get 70%. I'm still in that price range. And that's really where I think everyone should be for their books. Well, I hope you enjoyed this follow-up to my original Why Everyone Needs a Proof. This is why you should get a second proof to make sure that it looks right when you change it. There is one last thing that I wanted to point out here. You can see that even though these books are the same size and my bottom edges are lined up here pretty well, the top edges are not quite lined up. So Amazon does have a little bit of slop when they're making their book covers, or their book sizes. So just be aware that by running stuff really close to the edge here, you run the risk of their a little bit of change in size here when they're actually manufacturing your books. Okay, so on with the ending of this slightly rambling video. If you enjoyed today's content, please click the like button, and subscribe on your way out. If you didn't, go ahead and click the dislike button or the thumbs down and tell me what you didn't like so I can improve the videos. Amara's Law Blood Tech is now available for sale on Amazon for now in both Kindle Unlimited, Kindle, and hard copy. Go and pick up yours today. Thanks very much. Have a good evening.